In German towns devastated by the floods, a big cleanup has begun. Every helping hand is welcome in a recovery that officials say could take years. NTD's Joy Duguid has the story.
The floods in Western Germany have killed more than 160 people and caused untold wreckage. In response, the federal government on Wednesday passed an emergency package of almost £350 million to repair houses and infrastructure and to help people in crisis situations. But in the immediate aftermath, affected residents cannot wait. Volunteers are filling the gap in one of the hardest hit districts, Versailles.
Busy today with clearing out our basement of mud, 96 square meters of basement space that is so high with mud. The emergency services can only pump out the water, but not the mud.
She says friends, colleagues and even total strangers showed up to help.
I am here to help my friend in order to make it tidy again. So only together are we strong. That's how it goes.
This man organised a whole tour bus to bring volunteers from a neighbouring city.
The background of my idea was that we did not want to have too many cars here, and that many volunteers simply do not have the courage to come, because they do not know where they should help, where they are needed.
And there's not just mud and sludge. In the town of Bad Münstereifel, plenty of debris and rubbish needs to get tackled. Volunteers form long chains and pass buckets down entire streets to large collection points. This priest says he feels inspired by the helping hands, especially the young people.
As far as the volunteers are concerned, it's not great. It's superhuman what they do here.
And at the end of the day, others are there to feed the mud-caked helpers. Officials say they expect the recovery to take months or even years. Joy Duguid, NTD News.
French President Emmanuel Macron leads a list of 14 current or former heads of state who may have been targeted for hacking by clients of an Israeli spyware firm. A list of 50,000 phone numbers was leaked to a global media consortium and Amnesty International. The group's Secretary General said in a statement, the unprecedented revelation should send a chill down the spine of world leaders. The Washington Post reported among other potential targets are the presidents of South Africa and Iraq, 3 current prime ministers, as well as the King of Morocco. 37 phones identified in the investigation were either breached or show signs of attempted infection by the military-grade spyware from Israeli firm NSO Group. The Post said none of the heads of state would offer their phones for forensic testing. And in other news, in a new report, the EU executive on Tuesday blasted Hungary and Poland for eroding the rule of law and demanded reforms. Their failure to comply could cost them billions of pounds. NTD's Erode has more on this.
In its annual Rule of Law report released on Tuesday, the EU Commission lists serious concerns about judicial independence in Poland as well as Hungary. One commissioner said on Tuesday the EU is not immune to threats to its democratic foundations.
There is no doubt that we need to step up our actions to uphold the rule of law. In the very recent years, we have witnessed democracies all over the world experience unprecedented attempts at attacking their institutions and rules-based systems.
The bloc's executive had already raised many of the concerns in a report last year. But now they may have real consequences, as Brussels has made access to its COVID-19 recovery fund, worth almost £700 billion, conditional on observing the rule of law. The Commission has already delayed its approval of over £6 billion for Hungary in an attempt to win concessions from Prime Minister Viktor Orban's government. A European lawmaker with Hungary's ruling party wrote on Twitter that the Commission's report has nothing to do with reality, it's simply the compilation of leftist NGOs' baseless accusations against Hungary's conservative government. Poland and Hungary are the only 2 countries in the 27-member bloc under formal investigation. Earl Rhodes, NTD News.
Hong Kong police arrested the former executive editor-in-chief of the now-closed pro-democracy newspaper, Apple Daily. It's the latest arrest for media tycoon Jimmy Lai's newspaper under the region's national security law. NTD's Anna Rodriguez has this report.
Police in Hong Kong arrested another top staffer at the now-closed pro-democracy tabloid Apple Daily on Wednesday. Local media say its former executive editor-in-chief Lam Montrun was taken in by the city's national security police. Lam makes 8 arrests tied to the newspaper, including founder Jimmy Lai. In a statement, police said that they arrested a 51-year-old former newspaper editor on suspicion of conspiring to collude with foreign countries or foreign forces to endanger national security. Next Digital, which published Apple Daily, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The popular tabloid folded after several hundred police raided its headquarters last month and froze the company's assets and bank accounts. Its last print edition was published 1 week after. Police have said dozens of papers' articles may have violated the city's Beijing-imposed national security law. The first instance, authorities have leveraged the legislation against local media. Critics of the law say it's being used to muzzle dissent and erode freedoms, but authorities have denied those claims. Anna Rodriguez, NTD News.
More on the Olympics now, after 6 Polish swimmers were sent home from Tokyo because of an admin error. They found out while there that their names weren't on the list for this year's Games. The athletes, having returned home at the weekend, are considering legal action. Lucy Fielder has more.
6 Polish swimmers have been sent home from the Tokyo Games because of an admin error, prompting an apology from the president of Poland's Swimming Federation, Paweł Slominski. The country sent 23 swimmers to Japan, but was forced to cut the squad down to 17 as per the qualifying rules. Swimmer Alicja Tchórz, who competed in the 2012 and 2016 Olympics, was one of those who found out in Tokyo that her name wasn't on the list.
I am sad, I am hurt, I'm angry, I feel helpless. I cannot even describe what I feel. It is not like we only work for 2 or 3 weeks to get ready for the Olympics. We work hard for several months or years, making sacrifices, putting training first before family life.
Tchórz said the athletes were about to talk to lawyers and that legal action was likely. Slominski said he fully understood the anger of the returning swimmers and put the mistake down to a desire to allow as many athletes to take part as possible. Asked on Polish television whether the Swimming Federation was afraid of being sued, Slominski said it would face that reality if it happened.
With an eye on demand for lavender oil in the beauty industry, Bulgaria has rushed into growing lavender in recent years. But overproduction and quality issues have affected prices. Emma McCarthy reports.
Fields of purple pepper the landscape of central Bulgaria. With a climate matching that of Provence, partnered with cheap labour and an abundance of arable land, Bulgaria's lavender fields have expanded 6-fold to some 20,000 hectares since 2010, outpacing France. While the production of lavender oil soared 10 times to as much as 600 tonnes a year in 2020. Philip Lysicharov's company grows 160 hectares of certified organic lavender.
The future for Bulgaria is to produce quality lavender oil, which meets standards to position itself on the market. That will put us on the same level as France, which has already had this image.
But the sudden success hasn't come without problems. After surging in 2018 to over €120 per kilogram, the average price of lavender oil halved to about €60 last year, according to Agriculture Ministry data. Nikolai Valkanov is a manager at IntelliAgro Consultancy, an organisation which supports sustainable and competitive agriculture.
The Bulgarian production grew so fast that it began to outpace demand, which automatically led to a drop in the price.
Quality has also been a challenge. Most of Bulgaria's new lavender fields were planted in the country's northeast, where grain producers switched to lavender, looking for better returns. But they often lacked the proper skills and planted non-certified varieties. While the oil produced by traditional producers in central Bulgaria meets the high standards required by the cosmetic industry, quality varies among producers in the northeast. Even so, the country's farmers are sure they scent a business opportunity.
An exhibition at Versailles showcases beautiful drawings from the castle collection. It features sketches inspired by divine beauty, which acted as the base work for the palace's decor. NTD's France correspondent David Vives brings us the story.
Versailles is the most visited palace in France. Its charm may be its exquisite art and architecture. The new drawing exhibition opened in June and will last until October 3rd. It showcases some 100 works out of the 500 drawings acquired by the palace between 2000 and 2020. Many served as the groundwork for the palace's stunning art and decor. The exhibition even brings out pieces that are usually kept away from the public eye.
Here we have a rare picture of the young Louis XIV. He was not known as the Sun King at the time. He's a young man about to be married to Marie-Thérèse.
And since the royals commissioned the architecture and art, visitors are able to get a glimpse into their thought process.
This is an exceptional album ordered by Queen Marie Antoinette. She wanted a small garden inspired by both English and Chinese styles. It really is a construction of the time.
One of the star pieces shows an angelic face. The beautiful drawing was made by François Lemoine as a preparatory sketch for the alcoholist's room. This scene represents the Greek hero who went through a series of tribulations before getting divine standing.
This is the love of virtue. This is an allegory that describes a man's elevation above himself. The love of virtue drives Hercules to Mount Olympus, or the heavens. This is where Jupiter marries him to the goddess of youth, Hebe, and gives him status as a demigod.
Versailles' decor mostly represent divine scenes and allegorical figures like virtue, justice, love. According to Maisonnier, the 142 figures painted by Lemoine were first painted on canvas before being stuck onto the ceiling, and it's considered to be on par with masterpieces by Italian Renaissance painters. More than 100 years after the Italian Renaissance, the French worked hard to develop their own artistic style, and Louis XIV supported artists in their endeavors. Through these pieces, we see how French art was created and matured, all inspired by beauty and the divine. David Vives, NTD News, Paris.
That's the news for today, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Stu Lees. Thank you for watching our daily news show on YouTube. You can also watch our other programming on channel 190 on Sky TV or on Freeview via channel box on channel 271. In the meantime though, please give this video a like and hit subscribe to our channel. Have a good day.